In the middle of the Nevada desert, there is a stretch of land where the road does not end, but permission does. No fences with bold warnings, no tourist signs, just cameras, sensors, and an unspoken rule: turn back. For decades, this place did not officially exist. Pilots were ordered to avoid the airspace. Maps showed nothing but empty desert. Government officials refused to answer questions, or even confirm its name. And yet, everyone knew about it. Area 51. A name that became synonymous with secrecy, advanced technology, and unanswered questions. But behind the myths, behind the conspiracy theories, behind the pop culture obsession, lies a far more unsettling truth. Area 51 exists because something there cannot be tested anywhere else. To understand Area 51, we must go back to the Cold War. In the 1950s, the United States faced a problem it could not solve openly. The Soviet Union was a closed society. Satellite surveillance did not yet exist. Understanding enemy capabilities was a matter of survival. The solution was radical. The U.S. needed aircraft that could fly higher than any interceptor, faster than any missile, invisible to radar, if possible. Testing such technology near cities or known bases was impossible. Failure would be visible. Secrets would leak. Lives would be at risk. So the government chose isolation. A dry lake bed in Nevada, miles from civilization, surrounded by restricted land. Area 51 was born not as a mystery, but as a necessity. One of the first projects tested at Area 51 was the U-2 spy plane. At the time, it seemed impossible. Flying at altitudes no aircraft had ever reached, the U-2 could photograph enemy territory without being intercepted. When test flights began, civilians reported strange sightings. Aircraft with long wings, unusual flight patterns, objects moving silently across the sky. The government denied everything. Acknowledging the U-2 would mean admitting to surveillance over hostile nations, something that could trigger war. Ironically, this secrecy planted the first seeds of the UFO legend. Later came the SR-71 Blackbird, capable of flying at Mach 3, built with materials that expanded under extreme heat, designed to outrun missiles rather than evade them. Its existence remained classified for years, long after it had already flown thousands of missions. What people believed were alien craft were, in many cases, glimpses of technology decades ahead of public knowledge. Area 51 was not hiding aliens. It was hiding the future. Despite these revelations, one question refuses to disappear. Why does the secrecy continue? The Cold War ended. Satellite technology is public. Stealth aircraft are widely known. And yet, Area 51 remains one of the most restricted places on Earth. Flights are banned. Armed patrols guard invisible boundaries. Even standing near the perimeter can lead to detention. This suggests that testing never stopped. Only the nature of the tests changed. Modern warfare no longer relies solely on speed or altitude. It relies on invisibility, autonomy, artificial intelligence, electronic dominance. What if Area 51 is no longer about aircraft, but about systems? Systems that see without being seen. Systems that decide faster than humans. Systems that operate in domains we barely understand. What makes this secrecy truly unsettling is not what we imagine, but what we cannot verify. In an age where information leaks instantly, Area 51 remains a black box. Projects are divided. Knowledge is isolated. Context is intentionally removed. Engineers work on components without knowing the final application. Pilots test aircraft without knowing their full capabilities. Analysts examine data without understanding its origin. Secrecy here is not enforced by walls alone. It is enforced by architecture of ignorance, and that raises an uncomfortable possibility. Some technologies may already exist that no single human fully understands in isolation, not because they are alien, but because complexity itself has become classified. No discussion of Area 51 is complete without addressing the question everyone asks, and no one can answer definitively. Are extraterrestrial materials being studied there? Officially, no, but history complicates the denial. In 1947, near Roswell, New Mexico, debris from a mysterious crash was recovered by the military. The explanation changed repeatedly. Weather balloon, high-altitude research device, experimental surveillance equipment. Each revision raised more suspicion than clarity. Later, declassified documents revealed programs studying unidentified aerial phenomena, not to confirm aliens, but to assess threats. The government's position remains careful. We do not know what some objects are. That does not mean they are extraterrestrial. Yet ambiguity is powerful. Across decades, sightings followed similar patterns. Across continents, pilots reported comparable encounters. Across governments, responses followed the same script. Area 51 became the gravitational center of this uncertainty, not because evidence pointed there, but because silence did. If nothing extraordinary were happening, transparency would be easy. Instead, the perimeter remains closed, the airspace remains forbidden, and questions remain unanswered. Aliens are not required for a mystery to survive. Only uncertainty is. What is rarely discussed is the human side of Area 51. Thousands of people have worked there. Engineers, pilots, technicians. Most signed lifelong non-disclosure agreements. Some later spoke of long hours and extreme compartmentalization, working on projects without knowing their full purpose. Others alleged exposure to toxic materials during classified tests. Legal battles followed. Settlements were reached quietly. When a place exists outside public accountability, transparency becomes optional, and consequences become invisible. There is also another cost rarely measured: time. Technologies developed in secrecy often reach the public decades after they are viable. Military capabilities advance faster than civilian safeguards. Ethical debates trail behind reality. Public understanding lags far behind power. Citizens cannot debate what they do not know exists. Area 51 does not just test machines, it tests the limits of secrecy itself. With modern simulation technology, one might ask, why test anything physically at all? The answer is simple. Reality behaves differently than models. Materials fail. Electronics interfere. Human operators make unpredictable decisions. Area 51 offers something no simulation can replicate: total control. No witnesses, no interference, no external variables. The desert absorbs sound. The sky absorbs mistakes. If a test fails, the world does not need to know. That is why the location remains irreplaceable. Every nation develops weapons, but some weapons change the rules entirely. Stealth technology did that. Cyber warfare did that. Autonomous systems may do it again. Area 51 exists at that edge, where defense becomes deterrence, where deterrence becomes dominance, and where dominance becomes destabilizing. If one nation possesses capabilities others cannot detect or counter, balance collapses. That is why secrecy persists. Not because the truth is unbelievable, but because the truth may be strategically unbearable. Perhaps the most important question is not what is being tested at Area 51, but who decides what the public is allowed to know. In democratic societies, transparency is a principle, but national security creates exceptions. Area 51 exists entirely within those exceptions. It is a place where oversight is minimal, acknowledgement is selective, denial is sometimes policy. That does not make it evil, but it does make it powerful. And power, when hidden, always deserves scrutiny. Area 51 is not a place of aliens or fantasy. It is something more unsettling. It is proof that humanity builds tools faster than it builds understanding, that technology can outpace ethics, that secrecy can outlast necessity, and that some questions remain unanswered not because they are impossible, but because answering them would force us to confront what we are becoming. Behind the fences of Area 51, something is always being tested. Sometimes it is aircraft, sometimes it is technology, and sometimes it is how much truth the world is allowed to see.